I'm standing here with Adam of KRÜ, and Adam, congratulations on the win of the first map on Icebox. You know, I kind of want to talk about Kesnet. Usually, he's just doing Kesnet things, but most importantly, I want to talk about your new players in Shy and MTA. Yeah. It seems like they brought a lot to the table this map. Tell us a little bit about them.
Well, I'm just proud about both of them because it's new for them to come to a different team where we have a really different play style, and it's also they have to learn to go crazy with Kesnet because he does Kesnet things. So exactly. both of them are like extra bats for Kesnet, and with all three of them, I think we are a really dangerous team.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Coach Adam, and all the best for the rest of the series.
Thank you. Bye.
KRÜ pick up a massive win for the team as they managed to topple G2 on their pick of Icebox. You know, actually, funny enough, it's quite ironic because the G2 is going around, not that cookie, we're going around and making these cookies, and one of the cookies says, who? And I think they have just answered that question for themselves.
The name too.
Yeah, right? Because they now know what KRÜ is all about. And we were a little skeptical, I think, going into it, only because a lot of unknown factors, right? But I think now Kesnet looks amazing. Like, everything is clicking for this team, and it couldn't have happened for a better group of guys.
Kesnet looked great, but really what stuck with me from that game was how good the calling was from Melzer and the read that he and Adam had on that one. That Brimstone comp is not something that you see very often, especially here in North America. It's not something that you're going to be scrimming against a lot. And I thought they really quickly figured out its weakness. It wants to be playing the retake, playing the stall with mollies on B, so they really slowed their game down, played that 3-1-1 style, constantly defaulting, baiting out utility, and had some great late round hits to just destroy G2 on this A site over and over again.
Yeah, they went A so many rounds in a row, and the second that they stopped and kind of slowed down to take their pace, even different places into that mid, it still worked out in their favor because they did such a good job at baiting that util. They did such a good job at even breaking that KJ turret or ruining a little bit of their setup towards that B site. They put in so much effort to just bait, and even on the executes, they did not go in way too fast. They knew that there were mollies waiting to stop them. They knew that there was like a chance that there was counter util for them. And instead of just like running into sight, they threw their first set of util, waited for that wave, and just let their teammates go. And MTA with those flashes, man, like they are looking so good too. He's going crazy on that KO.
And you were talking about Kesnet. He was great, but he wasn't the Kesnet that was great during the regular season when his team was losing every map. He was the Kesnet of LCQ, who is still playing really well, but is in his IGL system and is not taking undue risks. He's still Kesnet. He's still going to peak sometimes. He's still going to take that risk. But he was not going off on his own and making silly mistakes and overheating. He was playing into their idea very, very well, and that cohesive product is what made KRÜ go on a run before, and I'm so happy to see that's continuing here in 24.
Yeah, I just wanted to see this team show us some layers, right? Some different speeds, if you will. If something, you know, the game's ramping up, then you meet that speed. If the game's slowing down, then you also slow down, and that
I think they really controlled the pace in that second.
Yeah, they really did.
I mean, a big part of that was this guy, MTA. His debut was so good.
Yeah, I mean, I was literally looking and watching MTA because I just said it earlier, his flashes were so good, his util was so good. The timing for his teammates, for the team around him, and the plays that he made and kind of opened up for Kesnet, for the rest of the team, was amazing. And even after that, playing up in those post-plant positions, playing a little bit aggressive and making sure that it doesn't, you know, allow the other team to just retake the site fully. Like, even playing like that, he just did such a phenomenal job for his first time being on this stage.
And when you're giving up the Sage or the Harbor to pick into that KO, I think it's the most important role in how you're using that utility. And I think he did a great job at that, at timing when he was using his flashes, at setting up Kesnet super well, and also kind of deciding when to use that KO knife in a comp with so much utility, like what G2 was going for. I felt like that knife was getting so much value to deny these brim smokes on the retake, to shut down these mollies so they could actually plant the spike. He played super well with the util and was also just fragging.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, honestly, unlike the New York Metropolitan Transit Authority, this MTA is actually quite reliable. So I'm looking forward to seeing what this guy could do a little bit more. Myrna, you are my favorite person, by the way. I I just really want you to know that.
No, I liked that joke.
That's
a good
that's
one.
true. You did.
Train
Yes,
joke.
yes.
Yeah,
As a frequent train goer. But let's not talk about trains much longer. Mimi can go all day, and we'll hear from Josh Artie about what he had to say going into map 2.
Standing here now with Josh RT of G2. Josh, it seems like you had a very strong start on the first half and the second half, but the lead just slipped. What happened on Icebox against KRÜ, and how do you fix this for map 2?
I think KRÜ made pretty good adjustments during like the midway in the half and a little bit on their second half, but I think the best change we can do is just tighten up our comms a little bit, make sure we're more clear and concise, coordinate the retakes a little bit better, and I think as long as we do that, we'll take away map 2.
Awesome. Well, Josh, good luck for the rest of the series, man. Thanks for your time.
Thanks.
Later.
G2 are going to need to dust off whatever happened there on Icebox and just move on to the nicer, well, sunnier landscapes of Sunset as we get ready for map number 2. This is going to be KRÜ's pick here, Mimi. Not now. But actually, I am going to ask you, what should we be expecting here? There are obviously fans that are coming in that maybe aren't too familiar with this map. What should fans be expecting?
So I think this map, particularly on defense, it kind of revolves a lot around what space you're fighting for. I think fighting for A main control or B main control and pushing for that extremity control with your breach, your fade, whatever that is, and your raise to deny that space is super important on this map. I'd expect most of these teams to be picking into Cypher. He's incredible as an anchor on these sites as defense, and on attack, those mid lurks into the late round really open up your opportunities as an IGL. For my money, I think Sunset plays the most similar to Ascent for stuff we already have in the pool.
Yeah, I think like Ascent, Split, those two kind of maps are definitely like a lot of the similarities when it comes to Sunset. Double controller.
What do you
have
make
double
of that?
initiator, double control. I actually love this. I think space making on this map isn't as big of a deal as it is on Ascent, for example, only because there isn't that much verticality. When you have that fade and you have the chamber just going in, baiting in util, and being able to TP out, you have a lot of ability to kind of get onto that site and bait all that util without actually having to have a jet or raise or have some sort of crazy move.
And I mean, no jet, no raise. That's what KRÜ's rocking with. They're locking in the chamber instead. But I think that could work for their style. They love these slow, defaulty attack sides where you give space for Kesnet to work a pick. I'm so excited to see what he can pull out on that chamber. But playing no raise can make it hard.
All right, well, let's see if G2 can pull out a win here in their America's debut and send it back over to your casters. It's Brendan Sideshow.
Let's find out indeed if they can stay in this series as well. KRÜ leading in one of the maps here, looking to take it all the way. It's their map pick on Sunset on top of that as well. Don't think we're going to be seeing, we aren't going to be seeing any more Brimstone gaming, are we?
No, I don't think so. No more Brimstone gaming, but I think it's going to be an interesting map nonetheless. No duelists. We haven't seen Sunset played in Americas at all so far, so this is going to be our first look at what the meta might be like in this region. Although I doubt most teams are going to be playing no duelist comps, but who knows? Who knows? I'm intrigued. I think double initiator does seem super strong for heavy execs, but double controller is also pretty decent for trying to play a little slower, and that seems more towards KRÜ's style. Let's have a look then. So they've got a bit of a lurk Viper wall over towards B. You would expect that to be countered by the trip most of the time, and KRÜ not slowing down at all.
Oh, this is fast. Yep, Leaf was there though to meet it. There's a Prowler ahead of it just in case of the unbreakable trip, and Jonah P seeking to contain. The Nuda mid is compromised. 2 players will fall. Another fight to be taken. Bit of a dink there. Damage being done. So Melsa, weak, but still claims that kill. And Ned, oh my god, saving his teammate's life there. Out towards the side. It's all G2.
Wow. Yeah, that was a fast one. I mean, just from the very first pick, where I barely saw a KRÜ member peek their head into market, and it got ripped off. That was an extremely simple dismantling, but I don't think it really told us too much about the compositions just there. Just that G2 have really nice, quick responses to B splits. One of the important things to think about is that trip that Net just threw. And a lot of teams are going to have ways of breaking it, getting around it, bothering the Cypher. KRÜ's comp, you kind of need to land a knife onto the Cypher, or maybe just try to Prowler and run through, break the trip at the same time.
Yeah, what a KO nade.
Yeah.
Those are the 2 main options.
But I think it's going to be a bit of a bother for KRÜ. And you can see here, it's already allowing G2 to stack 3A.
Risky. Play is tucked up into elbow. KRÜ just seeking to get the orbs online.
It's a tough defensive Viper wall to get through as well from Trent. Hard to get through either side of the A split.
Entirety of this A side is really just under lock and key with the amount of players. They got the crossfire set up. Jonah Peach is close to the corner. Any attempt there. A lot of players meeting them head on. He has some cheese, not enough really with the range to try and break that one, pushing forwards. Shy. Side that smoke as well, but he's just going to be spotted out entirely. Clean round from G2.
Yeah, keeping all of that weaponry online. Aside from Jonah P. And Class gets cleaned up. Leaf creeping towards the ultimate. He had a big start on the previous map as well, and then cooled off. Yeah. But that raise up is going to be massive on the defense side. It's also interesting, even just to think about the roles a little bit on KRÜ. Shy, we're seeing playing Viper here, rather than either of the two initiators. It's something to think about with KRÜ, maybe expanding their playbook and the flexibility a little bit of where they want these people to play. Of course, Shy is filling in the sentinel role for this team rather than an initiator like he has done in the past.
Yeah, so it makes some level of sense.
It does, yeah.
Guns, KRÜ, all the rifles here. Fade eye into me, the power on the left side here. But like you said, you know, this Viper wall, the Trent's laid down. It's really quite tough to chew through.
I think KRÜ are going to have the most success if they manage to pick him off before he can even realize there's someone there. As you saw Kesney going for. Ooh.
HP just tipping away here. No kills.
Kesney up to his lurks. Same kind of thing he was doing on Icebox.
Yep. In place that. The smoke up into his face, but here we go. Drop down! What a flick and adjustment. Trade online for Jonah P.
That's such an important kill that Jonah P gets. Because if Kesney starts to get rolling and opens up A for the rest of his team, you're going to have all the same issues that you did on the previous map. Jonah calls for reinforcements. Valen in his spot.
Jiggle. The angle. What a cheeky way to do it, but Shy was only on 20 health as well. Maybe could have got away with that as well if he had a bit more health to him. Team running out now. Trying to scale onto the side towards the back of the box. Jonah P was blinded up, and Valen narrowly assists, not with a smoke in his face.
Valen was slow on that paranoia. It didn't catch onto MTA, and that's why Jonah P died. So now a 3v3. G2 have a flanker. Here comes Net.
Net. With the Bulldog, he wins it. Those are brought down. Two players still anchored, tucked to the side as MTA and Klaus.
Cover going out.
Do have those rifles, but it's a really difficult one to try and win. Time being taken. Nade towards the back. Klaus still stand this ground and hold this space here. Do they think this is cleared? Over the top, though. Spotting it out, actually, with that satchel all the way. MTA's close in their face. They don't have a clue. And it followed up and turned it into a 1v2. Net here still. He's got the rifle. There's so much to do. And MTA, a 4K in this round. This guy might be a newcomer to this stage. A lot of unknowns circling around this guy, but he has stepped up massively so far.
It's been amazing. And the KO on both maps, filling in the flex role. What an addition. I think it's fair to say that expectations were not massively high for him. He's somewhat of an unknown player coming up to the tier 1 level. But he's fit into this squad and added a lot of firepower. And his timing is really strong too.
Yeah.
We've seen some people get nervous in their first game. Even in this season, actually. But he has just stepped up instantly.
You two forced down.
Yeah, a bit of a skirmish there, over towards the A side. Good response from Valen, keeping them back.
Drone on spot, duration running out.
My ult is ready.
Cheeky with the orb, but the one way really does just prevent anybody from swinging. Again, same playbook the KRÜ are really operating on through Icebox, making the most of the time. The clock really wearing this one down, seeing what they can get done with these low timings. Melzer can TP past this one, just walks up and breaks it though. Nade from Leaf, he's expecting the split. There are players into mid. They lost control of that a little bit earlier, but no commitment.
I think breaking that trip earlier in the round would have had massive consequences, but with only 45 seconds, KRÜ do now have a little bit of time pressure to finish on one of these sites.
Kesney's just walked up. Valence missed it with the peak. The jiggle timing here. All the way close to the corner. He can really just do so much work for the rest of his team. No one's watching this. crouched to the box.
30 seconds
It's
left.
Kisnet clearly spotted the gun. He spots the gun, and there's one kill. There's the second.
His timings are absurd.
Absolutely ridiculous. 20 seconds left into the corner. They are dropping all over the place here. G2, no chance now for the round, and he knows it.
If you think about a map where Kesnet dominates, right? You just picture average Kesnet domination. Most people picture him running at people, stomping them, winning aim duels. Actually, this match, most of what he's been doing is finding perfect lurk timings on Jet and now Chamber, weaving his way through the defenses.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, he's demonstrating extremely high game IQ. I can't believe the timing he found there.
They're hunting out his last gun. No players really surrounding him, so Net should be safe.
And a lot of the space that was gathered for Kesnet is off the back of Melza breaking that trip on B. And it pulled back the defenders on A. Because KRÜ are spread around the map. And G2 can't really get a feel for where they are. The information game is certainly being won. Let's stay alive.
Oh my.
So there's a silver lining, but not much of one.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's the information game. You know, when I say about KRÜ playing slow in these rounds and making the most of the time that they've got available to them, you still need to be doing stuff in the round. Still need to be breaking a lot of that preset utility, the passive map control that G2 have.
Yeah, 1 HP, the Observer's highlighting there.
Wow.
But a lot of the damage had already been done. G2 are going to have to start getting more proactive, I think, in re-clearing on defense in order to just get an idea for where KRÜ are. And if they can catch the players who are playing to contain, maybe they can even get picks out of it too. It's difficult though, because with how slow and quiet KRÜ are around the map, you might just run into the stack if you decide to defensively re-clear an area.
Net spots it. Mid players, they know it's compromised. It's only up to Trent here with a Sheriff in hand.
Now KRÜ know where the single rifle is.
They're walking themselves all the way into mid. Leaf's on a flank himself, right behind them, but he doesn't have a gun to try and take that fight long range. And it's just KRÜ ripping them to shreds into the top section of mid. Shy is watching for it because it was all commed. Knows there's a second player there. Fallon. He through with a stinger.
I think it's a consolation prize, though.
Yeah.
It's going to be really difficult for Net to commit to this. He's only got 450 credits because he rebought armor and he didn't get the loss bonus. So, KRÜ again demonstrating that they're finding the holes. There were 2 people watching mid, and yet they smoked it off, quietly walked in. The contact play and the fact that there's so many of them grouped up is finding every gap. And the G2 players can't get their one and back around the corner. They're just getting knocked instantly. KRÜ is in form and coming in with kind of an extension of what their style was during LCQ.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
It bears mentioning, again, that KRÜ did not go into champs and dominate, right? They had that run at LCQ, but they weren't actually able to convert it into any success at Champions. They didn't convert it into any success in the off-season. But now they're coming into the games that matter in 2024. And they're looking great, like they didn't skip a beat from the end of LCQ.
Yeah. Early timeout taken by G2, but potentially necessary. The only 2 rounds they burn have been off the pistol and the follow-up.
Enemy remaining.
And I think they're lacking so much information. Which shouldn't be too difficult for them, because with Net's trips only being broken in 1 out of the 5 rounds that we've had so far, in theory, they should be able to stack the other sides of the map, try to play aggro in certain areas.
Yeah, but there hasn't been any of that, really. I can't really think of an example of where a player's been playing aggro in elbow or...
Yeah, I mean, aside from the eco we just watched, I mean, Leaf walked out B main on that eco round, but just missed the timing on them walking into mid. So Josh RT, he talked about the adaptations during his interview with Vansili that KRÜ were making. Now he's got the pressure on himself.
Big ults online for G2. Could make 7 of it with Leaf, Showstopper, Jonah P with a Hunter's Fury, maybe set something up.
The thing is, both of those ultimates actually require a bit of information about where KRÜ are in order to use them properly, right? They're good at stopping a big exec or good at stopping a plant from going down. But if KRÜ are just quietly walking around the map and then they burst onto you, it's really difficult to find good timings for those defensive ults. That's part of the puzzle here for G2 to solve.
Honestly, an off wouldn't go amiss, I think. Through again. 1-4 setup. Doesn't see anything.
A knife from MTA aimed towards where they've seen Net in the past.
Really deep drone. Sees. No connections. MTA, where's this one going? Probably landing into market, I have to guess.
But Net has rotated his setup, so he's playing over towards A. And that market knife not catching onto anybody. Trent dodges it. It's so
But it's
slow.
passive, right?
So quiet. Impossible to tell that KRÜ have 4 players in mid.
This is a repeat of the previous round.
But now they have the camera instead of bodies watching.
Oh, surely they hear the footsteps as well. Net! Backs away, Hunter's Fury. This feels very, very improv. Just an attempt to punish all that space that was granted and gained. And Kesnet, in the mix of all of it, the chaos of the situation, he capitalizes.
Face your fear!
Straight there towards the back now. Fade ult. Nightfall scatters it into the back here, but no connections onto Trent. And Trent has a hard time of it, but does maintain his composure. Still paranoia into his face, and he's got players all about him. Valen, he's there. He did manage to find those 2 kills up into the top section of it, and Jonah P stayed alive this whole time. They flipped the entirety of this match. Showstopper! It's dealt with! Leaf's taken away. MTA dropped to his knees, but still going to be granted that information to them because Valen is the last one left. They know exactly where he is. The face, the timing. Ooh.
And the trade. Leaf's decision-making there, the timing is so brutal. He's watching the left side of Pillar for a long time, waiting for an attacker to peek. And then he thinks, right, well, I've got to go for it now. I have to ult. It's getting so late. And that's exactly as one of the KRÜ guys swings around the spot that Leaf was holding. Brutal. But G2, again, so many questions being asked of how they're going to respond to unusual positioning and pathing from KRÜ. And Kesnet is the player to open things up once more.
Yeah. I think you'd have a lot less agency when you're locking into the chamber, but still been finding the value. It's all about just the contact plays. I mean, just finding those gaps.
He's not even trying to play inside his rendezvous, is he?
No.
It's not like he's trying to play it as a, I'll get one and get out.
Yeah, that's how you. I think that's how you got to play it into this comp.
Yeah, as a hard lurker. So now Trent anchoring with the help of these 2 trapwires.
Look at them, they're just walking all the way up. I mean, they can just walk up to this trip, spot it out, hear it, break it, paranoid into the back. Trent is in a lot of trouble. And look at that, Prowler in his face. On top of it, they're running him down. Didn't stand the chance, man. Not a chance.
Absolutely brutal. It's like KRÜ are playing with wall hacks on. They know exactly what the setup looks like. Dismantling it with perfection, not using any utility when there's no threat. And this is a team with an immaculate read on what's going on around the map.
It's a forced buy by G2. Don't have any money. Next, dodgy weapons. They've just got to save.
Valen and Josh must be scratching their heads. Again, it's not like KRÜ are using tons of utility and stomping their way into A, making it obvious that they're ending on that side of the map.
Yeah.
G2 only realized that it's a heavy commitment once the trap's been broken and a paranoia is already in the face of Trent. By that point, nothing too much they can do about it. It looks really good so far from KRÜ. Bear in mind that this was their map pick. So they're confident here. They have an unusual composition, one that Athena liked on the desk. And they've already got map 1 under their belt.
Yeah.
This is looking excellent so far.
Set up for a slam dunk at this point, 5-2.
Net's just getting spammed off minimap there.
Yeah, got to make changes. Got to make changes. G2 with a timeout now.
Burning your second timeout after 7 rounds.
Yeah.
And that shows you how lost G2 are at the moment.
I can think of a couple of options for them. Like I said earlier, the operator. Now, they don't have the economy for it. If they pick up the op, they can try and punish somebody's lurk timings as well. You can hold down one of the avenues on the map without really, needing utility.
The question is, though, as well, Brent, where are they going to opt? Because over towards A, there's going to be a lot of smokes utility in their face, right? It's going to be really difficult against the Viper setup. With like the Viper smoke and Omen smokes to be able to get good lines, unless they play really deep A. Suppose you could try to opt B main a little in
B
front
main,
of the Viper wall?
I mean, they've been given a lot of space in B main. Jonah P a couple of times was droning deep in it.
Yeah, yeah.
You can allow an op to get in there. Maybe mid as well. I mean, mid is where they are really getting exploited. Market player of an op.
Yeah, I think if G2 wanted to play extremely aggressively, trying to fight for mid control towards the beginning of the round would be useful, but a little dangerous and a little difficult with their composition. Desperate times, though, are going to call for some desperate adjustments.
See what the call is here. Deep play. Dart tagging onto 2.
Look, I mean,
The Viper Orb, though, I mean, it stops them from being able to play up any sort of aggression. They are close to it, though. A lot of players tucked to the corner. Jonah P was playing anti-flash. Just never to set that up. Leaf just taking a fight straight to them. Jonah P still don't want to hold their ground down. And will they find any value from it? The paranoia was perfect from Melza. Pushes those players all the way back out of it, but it's still a 3 versus 3. ADS 2, Jonah P! 3 for him. Might be on for the ace.
Dodges the Prowler. G2 finding success playing way in front of where the usual line of scrimmage would be. And Net's come around behind.
Disrespect. It's harder aiming to win this one. Smoke sent flying. Top side of mid.
You got to remember, though, the weaponry is still so low. Jonah's been able to pick up 3 with the Guardian, but can he manage to gain additional kills? Do they feel confident enough to go for the weaponry that's dropped? If the plant goes down on B, you would imagine
30 seconds left.
30 seconds. Yeah, they don't know if they're just cutting noise out towards A here. Holding for the ground.
Cover going. No charges.
Deep dart, surely at this point. As soon as the trap, yeah. They're going to be starting to grab at least one of the guns. It's Net. Plan here, gives some info. Note that both of them are on B, so the players can start rushing into the side to try and take this one. But still, just to share it. Knife 4. Now connection, Trent. Grab any of those audio cues in a backside position this game. Is a great call by KRÜ. In the moment here, they're doubled up. It is some semblance of awareness. Jonah P still there, and there it is. It is found right when they needed it.
If that's what it takes, though, Jonah fighting with a Guardian, acing it. KRÜ.
You cannot escape.
I don't think that's the call from Josh in the tactical timeout.
Yep.
Jonah, buy a Guardian and ace them.
How much is it per PC? How many aces have we had now? Is this the 3rd one? iBUYPOWER?
Yeah.
Marketing guy is sweating. He's sweating.
No, boss, I promise, it was a good idea.
It was a good idea.
Jonah, take this gun. I'll get you a gun here.
Okay, so now G2, with rifles in hand, what lessons did they learn from that? What was the thing that contributed to the win? I think it was playing pretty aggressive. Now, it's hard against these Viper smokes, but you got to try and get set up before KRÜ have taken a bunch of map control. I mean, look at it, though. G2 getting pushed back behind the Viper Orb from Shy. Leaf's kind of stuck in this corner. They're using the drone to get back up on an aggressive angle, but KRÜ have already left.
What's Kesnet? Trademark dealt with, but again, yeah, it's this mid players. They've already looked up again past the angle. Just an off-angle approach from Trent to try and hold it. Same smoke all the way through. Prowler connecting. Trent's got so much to do here as the lone player. They're going to be walking right into him! Rips away 2.
Yeah, that's major. Massive player advantage here now. That trap broken. Melza trying to be a menace. But what I'm noticing again is KRÜ are not afraid of mid at all. They're just walking around there. Not a care in the world.
Waltzing up. Paranoia into the corner. Elsa trying to remove some of this utility. They don't have market control here. There's a risk here. Melza almost adjusts for the second, but the trade online for Net. They do have that market control now for KRÜ. Moving forwards. One player remaining. It's all up to Kesnet. Paranoia not dodged. He's finding himself all over the place. All is closed. Spike up. Smoke drop down. Got himself in, but it looks so unlikely. And yeah, Leaf with the backstab.
So 2 rounds in a row now for G2. The only ones that they've been able to get on board while KRÜ had rifles. And that time, it's just Trent being able to defend this. Punishing that contact play with an off angle. But the fact that KRÜ are allowed so much access to mid without using too much util at all. The first Prowler used for mid control while they were already up basically to the top. That worries me.
They're taking it for free.
Yeah, they really are.
Now towards B. Oh god, the Prowlers! It's point them directly to Trent, and now that pit is no longer a pesky problem.
And it's not like Trent had any support there in B main, just trying to get it down on his own. But he picked the exact wrong round to do it. I don't think KRÜ have been playing B main heavy at the start of these rounds at all. And yet this was the moment that they decided to go for it. A read, perhaps, on where Trent was going to put that pit? Or just good luck for KRÜ. Either way, they'll take it. It's a 5v4.
You get the opening. They force the ult out of Valen for the reposition, expecting a fast play explosive off of it. But they just cut noise again.
And this would be a great round to end A. You know? Without Trent having that wall to be able to play behind. And that's what Klaus is trying to make it look like. Throwing his prowlers, trying to get Leaf off the line, and he's pulling Valen and Jonah P towards A as the rest of KRÜ are ready to walk out B.
It's so believable because KRÜ really aren't using Amateur Util in the first place. Paranoia in through the corner, but net still open. Pit, Hunter's Fury. That's a connection, but he wasn't expecting Melter. Have a TP to disengage. Klaus up through mid. Instant trade by Leaf. Good reactions from that one. Immediately turns around. Plan finally getting down. 2 versus 3 though with the Pit. Really difficult.
They're going to need some spam kills here, Brent. And they're going to allow the Pit to go down, actually.
Decay, damage, Leaf dropping down. Clearing all of it, and yeah, you're right, the Pit goes down, but interesting smoke from Melzer. Shot down, kills. There, last player notified. Shy. He's got so much more to do. 150 health. Dart towards the back. It's a double face. G2. Pull that one from the brink.
Insane shock from Jonah P. Once the Viper Pit went down, they realized they were everybody in B main.
Yeah.
And the shock was like a homing missile. That's a bit of a slip from KRÜ. Should have had that one, I think, in the bag. Especially after picking up Trent so early on and denying that. And then taking down the side tanker. This is now going to make it a much more competitive game. The score is 5-5. I'm not sure it feels like it. KRÜ have been very dominant up until these final few rounds, where G2 have started to wake up again.
It's taken heroics. G2 to make it nice and even.
We haven't seen a Kesnit lurk to win the round in a while.
Fast B main from KRÜ. Very different. What they're usually doing. Still with these trips, getting rid of the cam potentially up there, but it's not. Trip down to the floor. They can jump over this. Not choosing to do so.
Yeah, that's decent information, actually, later on for Kesnit to potentially abuse. Look at the call here. They're going to try and make pressure around the rest of the map, and then I think Kesnit is going to go for the jump over that trip. Genuinely, he's mad. I believe it.
There's a cam in the corner. Got a Traymar there to try and clear it. Leaf holding close. He's got a showstopper to do so. One of the luxuries that you've got. Lovely flash from MTA. And Leaf, he can't see a thing. Doesn't know if they scaled up close to him here. He's going to be feeling the panic. Settling in, but KRÜ not really taking much speed into it.
Is Kesnit going for the Fosbury flop?
He's really thinking about it. Okay.
He went to break it instead. Okay, fair enough.
Rest of his team grouped up on 2A. There's only 35 seconds left. Smoke renewed with the one-way. It's Valen setting that one up for the defense here. They know that there could be players in the elbow. They've completely given it up. But the lower this time gets, the worse it could be, especially when Leaf still has this showstopper and seeks to deny any of the plan or even the space getting in. No! Rocket goes flying, but no kill there. Just the damage on top. Melzer just TP'd. Ballsy play, but he earns the 1 kill, at least with the trade still there. G2, maybe they can make something of it. 6. 2 seconds left. Jonah P in through the back. Takes out Shy. 1 HP with the decay kicking in. Leaf still there. Beautiful work. Precise with the shots.
G2 hold on. That one was close. Same kind of idea again from KRÜ. Walking all the way up to the Viper wall for free and then using utility through it. That time though, Leaf and Valen doubled up, able to pick off at least, or do enough damage and get a kill at least, to be able to make it slightly easier for the rest of their squad. And crucially, Kesnit only went 1 for 1 on his lurk. I mean, if you can keep Kesnit to only going 1 for 1, that is genuinely a win condition for G2.
On here.
What a comeback. Very reminiscent of Icebox, but the other way around. G2 themselves having to come up with the adaptation in the first half. In the second quarter, now double offing. You were talking about that being a potential solution.
Great way to stop these contact plays, but there is util being used and expended to take B main control. Knife to the corner, it's dodged. Another Prowler there. The trips nowhere to be found. Flash from MTA in through the back here, trying to take the fights to him. Valen needs to stay alive. He's got to buy time for the rest of the team. Util in his hands. Melzer. He strikes right when the timing was correct. 3 players now into the back of the site, making sure they can reclaim that spike and get that plant down now.
Kesnit was almost going down to the raise nade there from Leaf. He's so weak. Taking an aggressive position.
Jump spot almost punished. Laying down a second molly, a smoke now to follow. Trent using it. Pushing the positions. The players are low here. Melzer's watching the smoke. Where's the trade? It's there from Net, but instantaneous! And KRÜ on point with it. The discipline that's carried them this far makes it to a 6-6 half.
Switching sides.
Same as Icebox. And a very similar story, but the sides slipped. I mean, that is G2 being forced to maneuver and make their own adjustments to what was going on. They did a decent job of it, but I'm still really impressed with how KRÜ are calling. And this no duelist composition seems like it has a ton of threats on defense as well.
Well, it does. Anyone's game so far as well. Potential for continuation in the series as well, but his first half up in the air. I wonder what our desk has got to say about everything so far.
Well, good news for you, Brent. We're actually on couches now, so sucks to be you. Anyway, I'm joking. What a bit of a tug of war, right? Very long tugs, right? You had at the beginning G2 start off very strong, but Myrna, you started to see KRÜ bounce back. Then G2 bounce back. We're tied up 6-6.
Yeah, I mean, like on Icebox, we saw that KRÜ kind of understood and adapted the way that G2 was playing, and I feel like this was just kind of a crossover where KRÜ started getting the hang of it and getting ahead, and then G2 just bounced back and understood how to play and how to fix their defense side around that.
I think the initial issue was way too of a passive of a defense for the side of G2. They were playing really back on A. I think it's really important to be proactive on that defense on this map, and they got that later on.
Yeah.
And we're not just letting KRÜ walk around the map. KRÜ, they have the shift key permabound. They will walk everywhere if you let them on the attacking side. But now going into the second half with G2 on this attack, I think this is where we can see some of that Sova start to shine. I think the dart comboing into executes the shock dart to deal with any chamber utility that you might have. It's a lot stronger on this side of the map. And for me, whereas Icebox with that Brim comp had a very set way to play, with this composition for G2, it's going to rely a lot more on the mid-rounding from Valen, which is where I think he really thrives as an IGL.
Yeah, for sure. And they have that double controller comp. So it's like when it goes into attack side, there is a little bit of lurking allowed. There is a little bit of freedom allowed. It is a little bit rough because it's like, maybe not as much execution power, but we'll have to see how they do it.
G2 are in the big leagues. This is the pressure now to not lose their opening match and take it to a third.
Couldn't agree more with that one, Mimi. Let's send it back over to Brennan Sideshow.
We'll see how this one ends up shaking out. Right away with the barriers dropping, a lot of players ready to meet with a bit of a skirmish. Melzer holding that paranoia on for the left side approach. Dark clearing, not seeing too much, but here's the refight as well. Fraudi smokes as anyone's game, but it's Klaus is filling up the feed once more with all green. One player left standing, it's Net on the opposite side of the map.
And it looked like Leaf could have been the difference maker there. He actually slipped into the Viper Orb without KRÜ knowing. But he wasn't able to find too much value from it.
Right into mid, Kesnit.
KRÜ win their first pistol round of the series so far. I think that's incredibly telling that KRÜ have kept it this close and been able to win map 1 without being able to lean on those pistol rounds. Their gun round play has been excellent.
Yeah.
That spells bad news ahead potentially for G2. Unless they've got really good mid-rounding, as Mimi and Athena were talking about on the desk. On the couches, I should say.
Yeah, the couches. Throw me for a mix.
Yeah, GB's making a specific point about
I'm gonna blame the producer. I'm gonna throw a producer under there.
under the couch.
Under the couch.
So the different Viper setups from both of these teams. Instead of a lurk B Viper setup on the attack, it's over towards A. And on defense, Shy looking to anchor B. And that allows Kesnit to play this aggro setup. Ooh. Here comes Shy.
Fought away through there. Yeah, Shy tucked close towards this one. Now it is an eco round, but with the plant get some extra money here. I mean, even not even extra money, extra damage being done. It's 3 versus 3. Somehow, in the middle of all of this, with the plant down, got to think, somewhat winnable. But Shy still alive towards the back of the site, along with the rest of his team here. Lovely nade from MTA, no more kills to be claimed there. Cleaning up the rest of these players beautifully. That's only got the classic. Only got a classic, not enough to do, but still. Bit of danger towards it. They did some damage to the economy. And the plant online for G2. Not the worst case scenario in the world for an eco round.
No, not the worst case. Not by any means. But you take a look at the way that KRÜ's got their defensive setups working. And that looks like a bit of a tough nut to crack. They don't have that Cypher trip, right? So that's one of the things that is not an issue for G2 to deal with. But they have to get through the snake bites, the wall over towards B as well. And anytime they want to fight A, they're going to be pushing into double initiator utility to set up Kesnit to take early fights. Kesnit might not find it as easy as all that, though, because of the Viper wall in his face. So these fights over towards A are going to be very interesting. Who wins, initiators or controllers?
Yeah. I mean, this is awkward. I love the idea. Rendezvous set up to his back. He set him up onto this angle, but as the wall goes down, along with the orb, Kesnit free to play in this spot. Still within the safety range. So he's going to be getting all that control, passive map control the entire time, calling for his teams. But he is backing away now from that angle, just from the door being broken in mid.
Kesnit loves being active. And it looks like G2 have
this fight.
a bit of an idea that he might have moved off, because they're starting to re-explore as the Viper util gets cycled.
KRÜ's game plan just seems to be just follow all the sound cues.
It worked for them on Icebox. It really did.
Anytime there's a semblance of noise being made, this time. Pressure here. Trademark broken.
It is a
Lee's
fake,
faking
though.
like he's that. Yeah, okay. Satchel.
Look at where the spike's going. I mean, this seems like a great read from what they learned on Icebox about the way that KRÜ likes to play their defenses. Because KRÜ were stacking 4 people wherever G2 made noise. And this time, very first time that G2 have rifles on board,
30
they
seconds
run a
left.
fake.
The hook line sinker, yeah, exactly so. Gives them open access to it. Still 5 players remaining though for KRÜ on the retake, but they don't have the rifles necessarily. That is really unfortunate timing. I mean, Leaf's just unaware of the fact that that was going to be fading. He goes down, he's giving them a gun on top of it.
They don't have
down, they don't have post-plant.
util.
Everybody through main here. This is going to come down to spam with the guns and maybe a bit of util on top of it. Damage definitely being done. Players are low right now. Diffuse, tapped, trying to force out that first wave of this one, but MTA didn't expect it off to the side. Smoke's still up, really forcing them all to just go out into the open spamming, but nobody's been sticking this entire time. Melton out diffusing. Half onto the board, everybody lining up. Half onto it all the way. Where are the bullets? There they are. G2. Barely, but they do win the round with 2 players surviving.
Awesome fake, not so sure about the post plan.
Yeah.
Playing 4 players B main and Leaf alone onto the site. He seemed very out in the open, like you said, unaware that the smoke was going to drop, and then, ooh, this is...
It's precarious. I mean, reminiscent of the Haven C long.
Yeah.
Trying to play it with the guns.
And I think had there been more of a follow-up on MTA's flash, that could have gotten even more deadly for G2, and could have easily slipped out of their fingers. But 1-0 so far in terms of Valin calling the mid-rounds, because that fake set them up with a lot of success. Same kind of opening, Kesnit just staring at Viper utility to start the round.
But he's still in that spot. He's not being pushed away afterwards. Even playing in front of it. Look at him.
Yeah, Kesnit's one of those players that you have to slap down multiple times before he decides, all right, okay, I can't really get away with this. Yeah. He's so confident.
So far forward there because he doesn't want the orb to be blossomed and bloomed in his face. Meanwhile, G2, rest of the squad.
I have retrieved the spike.
Towards B. Spike being sent over towards A. They're going to try and run another fake. It looks like it. But this time, Kesnit hasn't over-rotated.
There.
All 4 players, though. It really just comes down to Kesnit. I mean, yes, this hit's coming through. Maybe some kills can be found, but they don't have the spike in this direction. Kesnit pulls back the rendezvous, he's running away. So it's an open side over towards A now. The fake is working. Leaf, maybe he can get a little bit more here. Kills to be found will be absolutely excellent. He is the lone player up onto the site, but he's met. is matched there. Lots of players ready to find him. Kisnet not giving up all the space here, but there is a smoke again into his face. A bit of random spam. Lucky didn't get his head taken clean off. He's disrespecting them and shut down in the process.
That kill gives Trent his pit, so this now becomes even more difficult.
Nightfall all the way through here. Players were low enough with the decay damage kicking in. Excuse me, MTA. Catch that one onto net, but yeah, the pit didn't go down. Trail's pointing towards them. Dart over the top, broken. Jonah P. It is chaos in the mix here, but the trades are still good for KRÜ. Working away now into the back of this one. Only 2 players remaining for G2, and the pit still remains up. He needs to stay alive. Good adjustment from Trent. Snaps to the side here. The players alive here with it planted for the pit as well. It's looking more than one for them. Too difficult now. Melzer onto the high ground. Time ticking away, and Valin wins it against the counterpart.
2 rifle rounds, 2 fakes for Valin, 2 rounds, 1 for G2.
Weak points.
Excellent maneuvering. I can't believe they sold a fake again and Kesnet moved off site. This is almost a time where you want to be hitting the tactical timeout, but it's so clear that probably Atom doesn't need to get involved. I mean, the KRÜ players are not done. They realize that they've just been faked on twice. The question is how you adjust to that. And you can't fake every attacking round. No. But conditioning it a little bit is really helpful, because now KRÜ are going to be certainly not over-rotating as much. And now I say that, but G2 have just made noise in B main, and immediately 2 people are starting to rotate over to help Shy.
Yeah. There's an eco though, before to stack. Especially with Kesnet just pushing all the way forwards here into the back of the site. Leaf thinks second against it. Chunk down low as well by the util. Who do they want to plant this one? They have to try and fight for backside control. They will do so now with the util pop flash. It's nice, but the guns are even nicer.
No armor for the KRÜ players. They just went down to a lot of blind spam there.
Spike planted.
Fake the rifle rounds. Don't fake the anti-eco rounds. Let's see if that pattern holds true. What does Valin call here? They have a large ult to be able to work with. The Raze ult, pretty decent. This is a weird one though. We've got a timeout coming out from KRÜ. And I'm confused by this, because if you're going to call the timeout, why not before the eco round?
Yeah.
You've just
more
seen
time to discuss.
Yeah, you've just seen 2 fakes happen, right? So either you want to tell KRÜ about how to deal with the fakes, but I feel like the team should be able to manage that. Or you think you saw something interesting in the eco round, which I don't think there particularly is.
It's not likely.
Unless Atom wants to run a specific strat, which is hard when you're on defense, but might want to call a certain defensive setup. There's an interesting dynamic with the ultimates here as well, because Valin's got in his arsenal to work with Leaf's Showstopper, and he's also got a Hunter's Fury, but both can be cancelled by MTA's null command. So you can't just send it on a site if the KO's there, because even if the knife doesn't hit you, you're going to get the Showstopper cancelled. So there's got to be some finessing around the map, figuring out where people are playing. There's more thought to this than just everybody pop ults and run at a site.
Finesse mentioned. Fakes in play. It's like he never left. We'll see what they do. I mean, Valin was making full usage of the timeout. Popping off. We'll see.
Yeah, that's
Have adjusted the setup. I mean, Kesnet's playing from elbow nose. It's a minor adjustment.
Yeah, very small one. I feel like that timeout might have helped G2 more than it helped KRÜ.
Potentially. Yeah. There, this time. He's into mid. Top mid smoke. Two just walking their way through here.
MTA used his knife over towards A, so now they know there's no one marking.
Paranoia. Leaf can't see anything. It's a bit of a gamble though with the blind fire still. Melter brought down to his knees.
And look, MTA used his ult to try to cancel the Showstopper, but he was too far away. Great awareness from G2, and that's how they got the pick off the back.
Game market control, but they're just stunted for now, stopping in their tracks. B main control also. They could go for this B split, but it looks like a reclear from KRÜ. It's being called. They're just pushing all the way up here. Any util for it? No! The wall just goes down, and they are just cut to shreds.
Absolutely massacred. What a freeze in the round. These 3 rounds, the 3 rifle rounds from G2 have been masterclasses. double fake, and then this one, where they find out the positioning of the KO, instantly use the ultimate, and then call a freeze that baits out that re-clear, and they get the punish on it. Awesome stuff. Man. The quality of play, even for teams that we're not expecting to be right at the top of Americas, is pretty impressive to start the year.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm dead impressed.
Especially considering, you know, if you think about it, at the beginning here, some of the teams should have the least practice that they'll have at any point when you watch them this year.
But there's a lot of parity.
There is. It really feels like a lot of these matches could be going either way.
Hello, Kesnit. Hello. I mean, just not content with sitting in spawn and saving. Takes the fight to him.
Yeah.
Probably the percentage play, not gonna lie, but listen, it's Kesnit. He's got a rifle anyway, he's got his ult for the next round, he's gonna force it up.
This goes here.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to keep an eye on in this round, because it's gonna be another eco from KRÜ. But Kesnit could get dangerous. The thing with Kesnit having the hero rifle is that you probably just don't want to have him posted A doing nothing. You probably want to have him being a bit mobile around the map. So I wouldn't be surprised to see his position change.
Moved over to B.
Yeah, he might just end up stuck there though as well.
Shadows traveling.
So some extremely impressive attack side calling has led G2 to have the lead so far.
Fast again. I'm a paranoia. Nobody playing off of it though. Melza.
No charges.
Wasn't caught with the guard actually. Still close to the corner, that's Shy.
Leaf doing his Kesnit impression.
Yeah, it's just walked all the way into mid. He might be able to catch a kill. No, Kesnit going in the opposite direction. Good game of timing. Top flash play. Repeat from MTA.
Another big play from the rookie.
See that. Shy's still close to the corner too. If this is a half clearance with Clash playing close, there's some real danger here. Real danger, but no, navigated safely. Treacherous waters, melts it in mid. Leave! Oh my god. PP hopping all over the place.
And Kesnit's the last player left alive, wondering where it's gone so wrong. And they give him a lot of respect there. Triple face on different pieces of elevation. G2 pulling out quite a lead right now.
It's the exact thing that happened on the previous round.
It really is.
Pistol round
it
for the opposite
genuinely
team,
is.
and then just a string of rounds occurring.
It's a different style though, right? Because it's not so much the push and pull, it's more to do with G2 actually just being able to run some excellent fakes and then good ult plays. But now, another question. What's going to be happening here? G2 have been bossing it in the 4v5s as well. Winning just under 50%. I mean, that's way more than you would expect after losing a player at the start of the round.
It's an insane stat, actually. In the 40s, you just don't expect that.
46% of their 4v5 so far.
Fast, though.
Whoa, there goes Leaf.
Straight in, through market. No one to the top. Melza spotted. Not taken out, though. That's Klaus. Covering the top section of the smoke there with Leaf brought down. TP's close into it. They haven't cleared the back of the site yet. Shy. He's still alive. Pitting. Valen with the plant. Pit's going to be covering this one.
Planted.
Stretching out into the site.
They can defuse inside the pit here.
And they're picking off the players all over the place. So G2 don't really have an intact post plan other than the one player into market. That's Jonah P. He's got to try and stay alive here, maybe catching this rotate. No, not expecting it. So Kesnit just spots him out first. 2 players remaining. Valen with the flying, but the door's closed in his face. Absolute disaster here with all the smokes in play. Shy, he's safe to stick this one. Can get a half onto the defuse, but pushing up here. It's just Kesnit's time now to just stick it for his team. Trusting him, placing it. Valen can't do too much, and yet 1 round for KRÜ. Valen.
This is actually important.
Nice kills.
Yeah. No, those are really important kills. That's hurt the economy. I mean, look at what they've got to work with there. Melza's on 3,200, Shy's on 3,100. Those kills towards the end are actually massive. It's a Pyrrhic victory for KRÜ. They can't afford to win like that often. It was a bizarre round as well. I mean, the pit is such a cool idea, actually, coming out from Shy. If G2 don't want to push, pressuring backside, and he's able to get that off, it just makes the defuse so much easier. But now look at the economy difference in a round where KRÜ won. They can't afford to eco.
Choosing to invest into it. With Guardian's half armor. Bargain bin buys. Orb gained, Leaf up to another showstopper. Trips there, broken with the Prowler on top of it, so
My ult is ready.
beginning here for KRÜ, at least over towards the A section. Kesnit going to be just holding his ground as well. Will he get overzealous? Lots of players ready to meet him now. You can feel it, the stampede right behind Trent. All grouped up now, and he's holding such an aggressive angle. And again, lost his nerve. He's pulled back his rendezvous. He wants to play even deeper, close to the angle there. Potentially anywhere right there. Would it be the trade? Kesnit! This guy's a menace.
That's outrageous. The aim is just spectacular, and he's also denied the showstopper away from Leaf. Even fewer tools to work with, and where did Melzer ult to? That's what G2 will be thinking.
Wondering exactly where he could be. They've given up A entirely. They're saying there's no way they go after that. Kesnit just got 2 taken away, gambling on the fact that they're going to be going back over to B now.
And the call is so correct.
Yeah, wonderful stuff by Melzer.
This round, if KRÜ can secure it, is going to fix their economy
30
woes as
seconds
well.
left.
25 seconds, G2. Cautious is the approach, making sure that they contact up, don't reveal anything. We're spotted. Shy maybe, potentially. Now they're making noise, though. Shy's going to be aware of this one, making the call. Doesn't expect the player, though. Close. Down into the lower left, that's Jonah P still staying alive with the dart as well, playing a game of timings! Ships in the night, but Jonah P wins it. Off to the side, this guy is frying! And he still has market control.
The bad weaponry there, I think, is really hurting KRÜ. You can't spam into smokes with the Guardian.
You're
It's
going to
just
play
nonsense. Klaus is going to try.
They're going to go a lot of util. So much to clear, though. Cam there, a tap. And the timing for Jonah P works his way behind. Hello.
Okay.
On the first one, quick tap, expecting a play from a different position here. Net's doing a wonderful job of just really bleeding down the clock. Frustration for Klaus, but G2 find themselves up to 12.
Incredible play from Net. Really disciplined from Net and Valen towards the end. I seriously do think that those Guardians made a difference in those situations. When Jonah P's dancing around the smoke, I think with a rifle in hand, it's a much more even fight. It's just impossible to spam with the Guardian there. And I said that if KRÜ won that round, their economy woes would likely be solved, assuming a few stayed alive and grabbed some upgrades. That's not the case at all. It's just gotten worse. G2 used both of their tack timeouts in the first 7 rounds. Now, KRÜ are using theirs. But I think it might just be too little too late at this point.
Yeah.
It's 12-9. Their economy's in shambles. They're barely going to be able to get sheriffs on the board. Never mind any kind of rifle. This is G2's. Signed, sealed, and delivered, I think.
Keep the series going if you are G2. We're talking about, earlier, the ults online. Leaf and Jonah P again. Hunter's Fury, showstopper this time. No ult online for MTA, can't even stop it. You can cook up a game plan if you're G2. Try and go with a bit of pace here. You might find success just from the ults alone. There's so much that relies on this round right here.
And they do have a read that MTA has usually been playing A to try to set up Kesnit.
So what's the call? Is it going to be a fast B? Everybody's grouped up. G2 haven't been going for many fast plays.
And if it is a fast B, that's where Kesnit is. The only player with a rifle for KRÜ.
Very passive rendezvous set up from him, though. In fact, closing the door initially. He's going to be hearing the rumble. Footsteps in through B main. Presence, at least with the cam.
This is too much to ask of Kesnit, surely.
Showstopper now. Moving forward, that's clear. There's a flash on top of it. Rendezvous to back away against the wall. The nade will rebound. It's off to the side here, but an open site for them. Will they take backside control? They're just going to give it up. The post plan is what squandered for G2 when they got into this B's position a little bit earlier. They do have the guns if they wanted to try and play a bit of a spam wars from main. Ults online over Klaus. Spamming. Pinged into the corner. Leaf onto 50 health. Over to the side now, Nightfall. Not connecting, Leaf as well, could do so much here. Jumping through, any sort of trade in order, not quite. Hunter's Fury on top of it. Gets the nade out, the rest of his team following up through. This is the match, secured. A clean one, flawless towards the end. Continuation into the series.
That's a banger of an attack side called by Valen. Pumped up. Great response from G2 because there were so many dangerous moments there. Kesnit's lurks on the attack side, just generally, the attack side calling for both teams, really, really solid ideas.
Yeah.
But G2 pulls ahead towards the end, and whereas we saw a 13-9 on Icebox to KRÜ, this is 13-9 for G2. Similar stories, but reversed.
Same plays across the board. KRÜ still the usual show from them. It's that discipline. playing tight together that really just sailed them to a lot of these round wins. But G2, I mean, are calling spectacular stuff from Valin. We're getting ready now for that map number 3. It's time for a quick break. When we return, the Alice will be getting us all set up and ready to go.
Red Bull gives you wings.